Well, hey there, it's Catherine from CatherinePuller.com. In today's video, we're going to make a pretty quick shaker card with an emboss resist technique. We're using some fun new Whimsy products. Whimsy had a new release last week, and so we're using some of those stamp sets and dies on today's card. If you're new to my channel, I hope you'll subscribe. Let's get started. Here is a little peek at Maureen's recent Clean and Simple classroom lesson. She totally inspired me. So she did a lesson on how to use a big bold background stamp on a Clean and Simple card. And I'm going to do something very similar to this, but I'm going to step it up a couple notches. I'm using this new stamp set by Whimsy, and I'm going to use this little cupcake stamp. I'm going to ink it in Versamark and stamp around the edges. I'm going to take some white embossing powder, cover it, and then heat it. Now I'm using my heat tool to heat this up, and that embossing powder will turn to a liquid. Just takes a couple minutes, and if you kind of hold it in the light and tilt it, you'll be able to see that shiny embossing powder. And when it's all shiny and not powdery, that's when you know you're done. Now for the next step, we're going to do some really easy coloring. We're going to use the Distress ink pads, and we're just going to sponge over top of the cupcakes. And you'll see that white embossing resists the ink, and the cupcake stays white. That is picked raspberry, and then we're going to use some abandoned coral. This is such a bright, just gorgeous color. And then I'll switch to mustard seed, and I'm going to go around the whole outside. Okay, so I have all my sponging done, and I want to add some texture and interest to this background piece. So I'm going to use a little bit of pearlescent embossing paste, and I have this really fun dots and stripes border. And I'm just going to add some embossing paste here and there in these little polka dots. Oh, they're so cute. Okay, so now I'll just let that dry. Now that my little polka dots are dry, we're going to cut this out with the Big Shot. I have a stitched rectangle die. I think the stitches are going to be on the inside piece though. Let's see. Yes. So now I have a frame very much like the one that Maureen had in her Clean and Simple classroom lesson. Now I'm going to make this a shaker card, and I'm going to take this frame and I'm going to add it right to my card base. Usually I do this piece as a shaker box, so I put my tape around here and then I fill it, and then I add this to the shaker element. It's gonna be a little bit tricky to do it that way, so let's try it this way. I'm just gonna line the frame up here, add that. I'm gonna trace around it with a pencil, just kind of a loose line. I'm gonna take my 3M mounting tape and I cut it in half just so it'll go further. Trying to be frugal. And then place this around my pencil mark. I have a little extra, so we'll just add that to the edges just to give that top layer a little bit more support. We'll peel all of this off. I like to peel this off first because if I have put all my shaker pieces in there and then I pull this off and I bump it, then my shaker pieces will go flying all over the place. I almost forgot my greeting, so I'm going to do Hey There Cupcake. Stamping that in VersaFine. So I'm using this mix right here. It's a summer mix by Pretty Pink Posh, and then I'm going to use some of this cotton candy confetti stars. I'll add some adhesive to the frame so then I can add my acetate. And then I want to add a little bit of liquid glue so that some of my sequins will stick up in the top of the shaker card instead of all going down to the bottom. Gonna add that right to the front. Shake that around and get those sequins sticking on that glue. So I'm just about done with the shaker card. I think it's totally fun and totally cute and almost exactly like Maureen's card from her Clean and Simple classroom lesson. The only thing I changed, of course, was the technique and the stamps and making it into a shaker card. Well, I could be done right here, but I'm feeling like I want to add a little something, so I stamped this cupcake in white on black, and I'm just going to add it right here, and then we'll do a little bit more coordinating, a little dot of glue in the center, and then I have this little flower that came from the sequin mix, so it matches perfectly. There we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you're inspired like I was by Maureen. Thank you so much for being here. Again, it's Catherine Pooler, and I will see you again soon. Maureen's Clean and Simple classroom lesson from, whoops. And if you want access to hundreds more tutorials on everything that you can imagine, from techniques to clean and simple cards to lessons on design, be sure to go over and check out Stamp Nation. You will love this community. It's an amazing place for learning and sharing and having a ball with paper crafting.